right, I'm just gonna say it. Class isn't about money. If it was, then half the people on reality TV would be the most refined, graceful humans alive. And we both know that's not true. Class is about habits, the small, quiet things you do. The subtle moves that make people stop and think, there's something different about this person. And here's the strange part. These habits aren't hard. They're just not talked about. Because real class doesn't shout. It whispers. It's not about flashing a designer bag like a trophy. It's about how you carry yourself, like someone who might just have a permanent reservation at an exclusive restaurant with no menu. Even if, in reality, your car payment is hanging on for dear life. So if you've noticed yourself doing these little things lately, those quiet, unspoken things, congratulations. You might just be leveling up in silence. Number 1, you are patient. Ever start telling a story and someone cuts you off? Like, oh my God, same thing happened to me. And suddenly your story becomes their story. Yeah, you don't do that anymore. When you start to move differently in life, one of the first things that changes is patience. Especially when you talk. People with class, they let others finish. Not because they're shy, but because they're secure. They're not waiting for their turn to speak. They're actually listening. And people feel that. You instantly come across as calm, confident, and yes, refined, because interrupting screams insecurity. But patience whispers, I've got nothing to prove. It's quiet respect, something people feel deeply, but rarely talk about. Number 2, you've mastered the unbothered pause. Have you ever noticed how truly wealthy, grounded people never rush to explain themselves? Someone throws a weird comment at them, and they just pause. No defensiveness, no overtalking, just silence. That calm, steady silence that says, I heard that. But I'm not giving it power. That pause, that's control, that's awareness. That's the art of not reacting to things that don't deserve your energy. You've realized that sometimes silence is louder than words. You don't use that pause to ignore. You use it to stay in command. Number 3, you keep your space clean, even when no one's watching. This isn't about perfection. It's about dignity. When you make your bed, clean your kitchen, or fold your clothes. Not because guests are coming, but because you live there. You're showing respect for yourself. High-class habits don't only show up in public, they live in private, in the way you treat your space, your peace, and your energy. A clean space means a clear mind, people who crave peace, created around them. Even the way you organize your phone or your digital life, that quiet order speaks volumes. Number 4, you're not easily impressed anymore. At some point, you stop chasing logos, brands, and titles, not because you don't care, but because you've outgrown surface-level validation. You see things differently now. You respect discipline more than diamonds. You admire simplicity over status. You notice tone, posture, kindness, not follower counts. You appreciate quality without needing it to scream, and that quiet taste, that's real class. What used to impress you now feels noisy. You want depth, not decoration. Number 5, you protect your time. You treat your time like it's gold, because it is. You've stopped saying yes to everything. You don't pick up every call. You don't go out just because you feel bad saying no. You've started to value your schedule with intention, and that's exactly what the upper class does. Not because they're cold, but because they understand that time is the one thing you can't buy back. You don't just plan your time. You guard it. You give it only to the things that align with your growth. Number 6, you don't overshare anymore. Remember when you used to explain every decision, every boundary, every little thing you bought? Not anymore. Now you say less. You let your actions do the talking. You move with a little mystery, not to hide, but because you no longer need to perform. Real class doesn't announce itself. It just shows up, calmly, quietly. That calm silence, that's presence. That's power. You found peace in privacy, and that's something most people don't even know they're missing. Number 7, You respect money, but you don't worship it. When you first started getting serious about money, it was easy to obsess. But now, you've grown past that. You don't let money control you. You control it. You treat it as a tool, not a trophy. You save smart. You plan ahead. You don't buy things just for show. You've learned to live below your means without feeling left out. That kind of quiet discipline, that's real wealth. Not how much you spend, but how wisely you manage it. Because it's not about the size of your income. It's about how aligned your spending is with your values. Number 8, you choose peace over drama. You used to get dragged into chaos, arguments, gossip, online fights, but now you crave quiet. You'd rather have a calm night at home than a messy night out. You've learned that peace costs less than drama, and this shift, this craving for calm, it's one of the biggest signs you're leveling up. People who are building something real, a business, a family, or just a better version of themselves. They guard their peace like it's sacred, because it is. You've traded chaos for stability, and it feels like freedom. Number 9, you think long-term. You're no longer living just for today. You're building for tomorrow. You think about your health, your future, your legacy. You're not reacting anymore. You're strategizing. That's the mindset of true class. It's not about having a trust fund. It's about trusting yourself to build something lasting, brick by brick, habit by habit. You don't crave instant validation. You're patient enough to wait for real results. Number 10, you've stopped needing credit. When you start truly growing, something inside you changes. You stop caring about recognition. You're no longer trying to be the loudest in the room. You don't need applause for every effort. You care about results, not the spotlight, and that energy, that quiet confidence, earns long-term respect. You're not trying to prove anything anymore. You just do the work, and that's when you rise. Number 11, you observe more than you speak. There's something powerful about being the quiet one in the room. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you're watching. You start noticing things others miss. Body language. Tone, the space between what people say and what they really mean. That awareness doesn't shout, doesn't try to impress. But it's one of the clearest signs of someone who's truly leveling up. People who are secretly growing don't waste energy trying to look smart. They show it through. Restraint. The longer you observe, the better you decide. Because you're no longer guessing. You're reading the room. Here's the truth. No one's ever going to tap you on the shoulder and say, "Congrats, you're upper class now." It doesn't work like that. It starts with your habits. How you walk. How you treat people. How you manage your time, your money, your energy. It starts when you stop chasing and start choosing. So if any of this sounded familiar, you're not imagining it. You're leveling up quietly, powerfully, and with purpose. And when you keep going, you won't have to tell anyone you've arrived. They'll feel it the moment you walk. And if this story hit home and you recognized some of these habits in yourself, drop a comment below and let me know which one spoke to you most. And hey, don't forget to subscribe for more stories just like this. Stories that help you grow in silence and rise with grace.